In this video, we're going to take a look at how we can import our models directly into an external program like Zbrush. But before we get started, let's talk about the fact that it's possible to get a 40-day trial of Zbrush for free. And let's take a look at where we can visit to download this. So in a web browser, I just did a search for Zbrush and trial, and this page popped up for me. Actually, I was wrong. It's not 40 days. You actually get 45 days to try out Zbrush and try out all the features and everything of this program. So it's not a bad deal. So go ahead and, if you don't have Zbrush loaded on your machine, you can go ahead and download it from here and get the program installed. Once the program's installed, it should look something like this, as you see here on the screen. Now I have Lightbox enabled. That should be on. If you don't see the Lightbox, if you don't see this kind of pop up, go ahead and click this button right here for Lightbox. And what I did is I double clicked this Dynamesh Sphere 128. And if I double click this, it'll load this project for me. And you can see if I just click in the open viewport, I can kind of rotate around. What I like about this project is that it throws this sphere into the middle of the screen so you can start sculpting right away. It's got should have the grid or the floor turned on. And it should put you in a mode where you can start sculpting right away. We're not going to be sculpting right now for this process, but it does also fill the screen up and gives you everything you kind of need to kind of get started. Now my interface might look a little bit different because I got a custom interface loaded on the bottom, but everything else that you see should probably be about the same. What I'm going to do is we're going to use a plugin, an FBX plugin, for loading in our FBX that we exported from Maya. We're going to double click on this little arrow that you see here, and this will open up this trough area. You've got one on the left and the right, and you can click and you can drag to move things up and down. There's nothing over here yet, but we're going to go ahead and dock something into that area. We're going to go to the Z plugin area. Just click on this once like you see here, and take this little kind of power-ish icon and click and drag it over here, and it'll dock it to this station in here. So again, you can click and drag off to the side to kind of move this up and down. Within here, you'll see an FBX export import. We'll go ahead and open that up. And what I'm going to do is just use the import option on this. So we're going to import, and then I'm going to navigate to where my piece actually. Let me just drag this in here. And you can see I've got my crate export that we had from before, and I'll go ahead and open this. And you can see it's going to go through a process of kind of running through and building what you need within here to have the crate within Zbrush. So I'm just going to click and drag in the viewport. We'll talk about navigation in a different video, but I can at least click and drag and kind of view what's going on here. The next thing I want to talk to you about is if we go over to this area in the tool area and click on subtool, you should see that we have this crate group, bottom group, and the top group. Now, in the earlier video, I actually was inside of Maya and I renamed those parts. So I could show you that the name that you see here is based off of what's actually inside of Maya. So if I went and I opened up Maya and went back to our crate group, and you can see we got crate bottom and top, and I changed the names of that. If I export this out and say File, Export Selection, export it out as the FBX, like what we did before, and go to our FBX folder, and I'll actually just save over the top of this crate export like what I've got here, and I'll replace it. Now I'll go to ZBrush, and now if I import this in, it's not going to import directly over the top of this thing. What I might want to do is just start my project over again. So I hit the command key to bring up the Lightbox, and I can double click this Dynamesh Sphere. And I'm just going to load this as a project again. Just click and drag over here just a little bit, and we'll go through this again and say import. And this time I'll take the crate export and load it in. And you can see that it's going to take whatever that naming convention that you have inside of Maya, and it's going to convert it in that way. Okay, in the next video we're going to be taking a look at how we can turn this into a solid model using a process called Dynamesh. And from there, we'll start to do a little bit of sculpting and look at the navigation of this program and get you a little bit familiar with some of the different brushes.